In this lesson, we're going to be writing linear equations in slope-intercept form. This time, they're not going to give you the slope and y-intercept right away. They'll give you a point and a slope, or 2 points, and we're going to have to use the point-slope formula to help us write our equation. So the point-slope formula, you've seen this before in Algebra 1. Remember, m stands for your slope. And here, x1 and y1 represent a point. So x1 and y1 represent a point that's on the line. Your x and your y, you leave those alone. You don't plug into those variables, only into your slope, your x1, your y1. And again, slope formula, which we learned in the previous topic, you may have to use it if they give you 2 points to find the slope. So here we look at our first example. They want us to write an equation of a line. They tell us it passes through negative 1, 3 and has a slope of negative 4. So here negative 1, 3 would be our x1 and our y1. And the slope of negative 4 is our m. So I'm going to plug this into point slope form. And we're going to plug in for y1, m, and x1. So I have y minus, y1 was 3, m, or the slope, was negative 4, parentheses x minus, x1 was negative 1. And here, remember, anytime you see a double negative, that actually changes to a plus. Our next step, because our goal is to write this in slope-intercept form, is to distribute. So my left side stays the same. And negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. It's almost in slope-intercept form. We want to get y by itself. So our last step is to undo the minus 3. So here I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I get y equals negative 4x. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So that would be our equation for the line in slope-intercept form. Our next problem, they give us a point of 8, negative 4 and a slope of negative 3/4. So here again, they gave us an x1, y1, and our slope is negative 3/4. Now I can plug this into my point slope formula. So I have y minus, y1 is negative 4, equals, our slope was negative 3/4, x minus, x1 is 8. Remember, anywhere you see a double negative, change it to plus. So here, this becomes plus. Our next step is going to be to distribute. So we have y plus 4 equals negative 3/4 times x is negative 3/4 x. And then we're going to do negative 3/4 times negative 8. When you multiply two negatives, it becomes positive. 3 times 8 is 24. If you divide that by 4, it becomes 6. Our last step now to get y by itself would be to undo the plus 4 by doing minus 4. So our final equation is y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2, and it's in slope-intercept form. Here, these ones, they started by giving us a point and a slope. In our next two problems, they're going to give us 2 points. So we're going to have to do a little bit more work. So in problem 3, they tell us our line passes through negative 2, 5 and 2, negative 1. When they give you 2 points, you're going to have to find the slope first. So we're going to label it x1, y1, x2, y2, and we're going to have to use our slope formula like we did in the previous topic. So y2 minus y1 would be negative 1 minus 5. And x2 minus x1 would be 2 minus negative 2. And remember, anywhere you see a double negative, you change it to plus. So this becomes negative 6/4. And if we simplify, it becomes negative 3/2. That is the slope. Now that we know the slope, we can use point slope form like we did in the previous problems. So I'm going to plug in for y1, m, and x1. We already know x1 and y1, and our m, or our slope, is the negative 3/2 that we just calculated. So I have y minus, y1 was 5, equals, our m is negative 3 halves, x minus x1 is negative 2. Here, since I have a double negative, I'm going to change it to plus, and my next step would be to distribute. So I'm going to get negative 3 halves x. Negative 3 halves times positive 2 is going to be negative. 3 times 2 is 6. If you divide by 2, that's a 3. And then my last step here would be to undo the minus 5 by adding 5 to both sides. So I get y equals negative 3 halves x. Negative 3 plus 5 is positive 2. So that would be my equation in slope-intercept form. Here on the next problem, they also gave us 2 points. So we're going to label our x1, y1 and our x2, y2. And we're going to have to start by finding the slope. So I'm going to use the slope formula. So I get y2 minus y1 is negative 7 minus 9. x2 minus x1 is negative 4 minus 4. This becomes negative 16 over negative 8. If we'd simplify negative 16 over negative 8, our slope is a positive 2. So now we know our slope and our x1, y1, we can use point slope form. And remember, we're plugging in for y1, m, and x1. So I have y minus, y1 was 9, m, our slope, was 2, x minus, x1 is 4. And now I can distribute. 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, and our last step would be add 9 to both sides. So I get y equals 2x, negative 8 plus 9 is positive 1. So our slope is 2, and since our equation is 2x plus 1, this line would actually have a y-intercept of 1. So anytime they give you a point and a slope, you use point slope form. If they give you 2 points, you're going to have to find the slope of those 2 points first, and then use point slope form.